What is good, agency owners? This is Jordan Ross, founder of 8-Figure Agency, where we help you escape agency prison, get your time back, get you clarity on how to best scale your business, get you the business of your dreams and scale ultimately to 8 figures. And today we have a massive success story. One of our clients, someone who I have a deep appreciation for. We got Kenneth Todd, founder and CEO of Gaia Media Group. Kenneth has been working with us coming up on four months. I think he just finished 4 months. And he's been wildly successful, adding about $80,000 in monthly recurring revenue in 4 months, which is, Kenneth, by the way, one of our best success stories, right? That's a short period of time to go from where you were to add that much in just 4 months. And along the journey, right, gaining a lot of clarity, feeling like you're getting back in control of the ship and bringing a lot of calm to the system. But before we dive into all that, Ken, for our listeners, who's Kenneth Todd? What's Gaia Media Group? For those of the listeners that don't know you.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan, and really appreciate you inviting me here and having me speak or have this conversation. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, so for me, have an agency based in Carlsbad, Southern California. Started in 2010. I actually started this business sick in bed, right? Pretty much in Connecticut. I'd been running e-commerce. I actually come from an investment banking background. Started an e-commerce business in 2008. I had to make some money because I was sick and I realized I couldn't go back to work. And I just, over the period of the next 2 years, so 2008, 2009, developed some skills. People started asking me, and I thought, hey, I could start making some money from this stuff online. And it was pretty much only Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, a bit of YouTube. And started my agency. We did everything and anything. Whatever you asked for, we would do. Videos, blogs, website, emails, you name it. Like local listings was a big thing. And now 13 years later, there's a team of 10 of us. And we focused really on just building automated marketing systems for coaching clients typically, and social media ads. We used to do a little bit of LinkedIn marketing, but we sort of taken that away, dropped that third pillar, and just focusing on these two core pillars right now.
I love that. And it's unique, right? Because for the agencies that we work with, it's not always common that they've been in business for at least a decade, right? And you had. So I want to go high level. You've been doing this for a while, but you've seen a massive uptick in 4 months. For someone who's been in business for a decade and more than that, in a 4-month period, right, you've had a lot of revenue. I want to get to that, but in coming into the 8F experience, what were some of the reasons why you were looking for some support, or some of the opportunities or pain points you were experiencing in your business that made you look in the marketplace for potential people that could help?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for me, your business evolves, right? So you go through these different things, and originally it's just like, oh, I need more clients. And, I would say for the last, I don't know, I've never really struggled for clients since probably about 2014, 2015, right? Word of mouth referrals. But then I was just a one-man shop, and I used to have a couple of VAs in that. But when I really started getting serious and my referrals and that really started kicking up, I kept finding I was starting to get more client complaints where I'd never had in the past. And it was a capacity issue. I just couldn't get to do the work for the people, quick enough. So I always thought, okay, well, I got to make more money, and then I'll be able to hire somebody, right? And then that's when I had a social media person and a VA, and I did all these things. But at that time, my agency was doing everything. So I couldn't create any processes and systems, and it was just a mess, to be honest. And I tried to build different spreadsheets, and I tried Monday, and I tried Asana, and I tried, ClickUp, and I tried everything. And then I hired some folks, paid them quite a bit of money to be on my team, but I just never got there. I was just frustrated. I was stressed. I hated my job. That's what I saw it as. You say it very well, I was in a prison. And and then I hired this VA team that could help set up ClickUp in that last year, January. And because I'd sort of changed tack with my business and I was really starting to ramp up a little bit, getting to like 300K. And I thought, okay, let me just get these SOPs in place. And that helped. But I was still not getting to where I wanted to be. Then I built my team up to like 11 people, but I was still stuck. And I just felt like things weren't working. At the end of the day, I was working weekends. I was working 14 hours, 15 hours a day. I was looking around and saying, damn, I got like 11 employees here, but I'm still stuck. Like, what the heck's going wrong? All right. So, and that's when I saw some of your Twitter posts. I thought, man, this guy's talking sense here. He's talking about things that I don't have in my business. And this totally makes sense, right? Because I just had a bunch of blind spots. I'm not an operational guy. I'm not a process guy. And in fact, when I started my business and I left investment banking world, anything that spoke about processes or systems, I was like, dude, I don't want to hear that. That's for the corporate crowd, not for me. You know what I mean? So I just got to a position where I was like, I have to do something here because I'm going to go insane. Like, how do I solve this? Well, I've got 11, well, there's 10 employees, including me, was 11. But I'm still stuck in my business. And that's when we reached out to you guys.
So first off, I appreciate the transparency, and I think there's so many agencies in this space, and it's exactly what I'm not an operations person. I hear that all the time, and that's ultimately why the agency space has been such a good fit for us, because we're coming in as operators. We're working with a lot of agencies, and a lot of agency owners are like you, right? I see the vision. I could go sell. I could fulfill however the service is, but it's a very specific perspective that is not widely known in this niche, which makes us like such a good, like a hand in a glove, so to speak. So you've had a really good success in such a short period of time, right? You've had a change of energy, change of revenue.
Yeah.
Take us through, because most times I bring people on, they've been working with us for more than 4 months. So what has happened in 4 months that has enabled, let's start with the revenue growth, but then like the energy too, right? You're feeling good again, right? So what happened in the first, we'll break this up, first 2 months and second 2 months? Like, what were some of the things in the first 2 months that started to put the foundation to enable change?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I think, it's hard to describe sort of what happens, right? Because you come with all the systems and the framework, and yeah, I mean, you have a fantastic team. I mean, so the first thing is your vision and your team, right? But that first month we spent together, we did the whole audit, identified everything. I was super excited, but now you got to go implement this stuff, right? But I also phoned you. I gave you a call, I think, in the beginning of January, middle of January. And I was like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to continue because I'm thinking of changing tack.
I just remembered that you made this call. I'm just remembering that.
Yeah. So like for the people that are listening, that was a product of me, even though I was in your program for 6 weeks, around about 5 or 6 weeks, I hadn't started to implement, right? Because it takes time, right? And so what was the reason for that call? I'd reached my limit where it's like, dude, I can't handle another day of this crap. I'm freaking packing it all in and I'm just going to coach, right? So I'm not doing anymore because we are done for you agency. And like you said, dude, cool. I totally understand. I'll give you the space, go for a walk, go meditate, message me back. I said, I'll message you back tonight. I didn't message you back that night. It was a Friday night. I only messaged you back on the Monday. And I think I said it was a long walk, right? I walked the whole weekend. But anyway, so, and then I think I just got my senses together, right? And probably a lot of agency owners can understand that. But then I started doing the work, and it's like you have all these blind spots around how everything's meant to operate. But like each week we're doing these incremental things. So me and Joe, right, this is your team, the best dude I've ever met, apart from you. um, like just dropping this education and giving me specific things to work on, where all of a sudden I turned a corner, right? And all of a sudden, like I'm confident in our ads, I'm confident in my ability to like, ramp up our business. But the thing that this really gave me from being January, I'm selling this thing, to, middle of April, I've broken all my records, and hit 150, 160K this month, right? Is like one of the, like there's all those systems like you guys identified, oh, you got all these SOPs, but you don't have a workflow. Like, where's your workflow? I was like, of course I haven't. So even though I have SOPs, people come in, nobody knows where to start because they don't know how this whole thing works. And then it was just like one of the things that you guys really gave me is like, I'm a numbers guy, but I'm only focused on part of the numbers. I was just focused on sales, like my cost per lead, how many calls I'm getting booked, my close rate, show up rate. I didn't have any forecasting for like the number of clients that come in, the workload for my team members. First of all, my org chart, what does it look like in the future versus now, kind of thing that you guys showed me, and then creating my financials off that. So not only financials for revenue, but financial for staff. And hey, when do you actually need to start hiring? So all of a sudden, I was in this place of confidence. Whereas if this month of April had happened in January or February, I would have been broken because I didn't have the confidence in the data to just follow the data. Okay, you're at the stress point now, pull the trigger on this hire. So I already had my next person in place that I knew, like, I'm going to hire this person, but they came quicker than I expected. And so it gave me that confidence to be able to say, hey, I can scale now with confidence because my systems and processes are getting better every single day. And I have my data, my forecasts, that everything's broken down from the amount I spend per day to the cost of every single employee and what that workload is for every single employee, so I can know when they're reading their stress point. And then also like how we measure success on a daily basis and have that feedback loop. And it's those things that I think we don't really appreciate. But what ends up happening is the customer has a better experience. They want to stay on longer. They're going to tell their friends about you. But your staff are happier. People start performing at a higher level. And all of a sudden, that day that you thought, man, when is anybody going to pick up the slack? All of a sudden, you're like, things are working here. My team are giving me feedback. They're owning it because now they understand. Whereas I had to say, oh, go do this, go do that. Now they do it automatically because they've got a process and system to flow. They know how we measure success. They know what's expected of them. They understand the whole process. So that's sort of a long story, but I don't think it was like one thing. It was over a period of like a month of calls, but then boom, I had implemented everything together and it just gave me that confidence.
Yeah, I think confidence is such a key word. I use the word clarity. If you know what to do and you do it, it's almost like when you're in agency prison, this mist, this overcast, this fog dissipates and you can now see a path. Oh, this is a workflow, step 1 through the last step, and everyone's understanding that. It leads to project management, leads to effectiveness and management of the team. It leads, I can know when to hire, data of what's coming in, when's it closing, like sourcing, onboarding, like there are so many variables in the business that it's so easy to get disillusioned and lost between all of them. It sounds like you, through the process, you started to see again, right? Reawaken to the simplicity of this, which is
Exactly.
beautiful. And here's a different angle. We did all this. It sounds like you started improving your systems. And I want to go back to systems, but I want to go to the thing that everyone likes to know about. Like, how did this lead to revenue? Like, how did this lead to growth of your business?
Allowed me to say, okay, right, this is I can increase my ad budget. right? So I know what I can deliver from my ad, right? I know. So like, here's the crazy thing, right? Is I know if I spend $1 on ads, I get $5 back. But I've never had been able to have the confidence to just execute on that. So to scale, right? Because I know the limits of my team and this is my limit. I'm doing everything. I'm going to be screwed. And so by having that data, I can say, okay, I can turn it up now, and I can turn up the way I want it to turn up. So all of a sudden is it it sounds weird, but me being able to execute my plan, all of a sudden in April, $1 turns into $12 for that month of cold traffic, right? Because
which
now
is insane,
it's insane,
right?
right? In a very, very competitive marketplace. And um, and so I have the confidence now where, like, hey, I can turn this dial up. Yeah, confidence, clarity, and that's exactly what it is. Now, all of a sudden, I have clarity. It's like, okay, I can see a path here to sell my business in the next 2 years, right? And hey, that little number that I had in my head, maybe that number is a lot bigger than what I thought initially.
It will be a lot bigger. And I don't know if you saw my post in the community channel yesterday. Especially in 2 years, we're going to have that roll up process where our clients typically we're just saying, hey, who wants to sell their business? We'll help syndicate that relationship to buyers. Now, what we're doing too, I don't know if you saw this. This will be cool for whenever you get to if and when we're having a process where we're aggregating like 5 to 10 clients at a time. So if you sell your agency, typically going to sell 3 to 5 EBITDA, 3 to 5x. The more revenue you do, the higher the EBITDA, and a few other variables. But if you start to aggregate and you now have, let's just say, 10 companies, let's just say they're all doing 1 to 2 million. So let's just say you're talking about 15 million in cumulative revenue. The ROI, the multiple is way higher. We're now talking like that could be 5x top line instead of 5x profit, right? And then everyone will get a bigger cut. So that's something that we're actually working on right now. We're already starting that partnership. So whenever you cross that bridge, 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, whatever, we'll help create that process to do a roll up of sorts. So not only could you get you'll get you'll get a bigger sale price too, and we'll help coordinate that for you. So that'll be fun. I think that's so awesome. I think when we think about who are the best ADEF clients, it's the clients that when we solve the operation, they can go sell. And I mean,
Yeah.
you know how to go get business. Business has never been the problem. It's just been team. Has anything changed on a management perspective of your talent, or is it just simply the operational process and having clarity into the data is telling you constraints, capacity, sourcing, hiring, onboarding, training, and all that stuff?
Uh, what did you ask around the talent?
Has anything changed on your management of your talent, how you're managing your people?
Yeah. So a couple of things. Again, the data and having all that stuff allowed me to go pursue a higher quality talent, but then also manage my existing talent and my new team members in a better way. Right. So again, they need just as much clarity and confidence in their role. And when they don't have all those processes, right, it's like Joe sort of boiled it down to three things, right? Who owns it? How do we measure the success of it? And what is our process? And if I can marry those two things or those three things together and the documents that come with it and whatever, that's 80% of the job, right? Now I'm spending less time. Do this, do that. Come on. Now I'm meeting with them. So just before this call, I met with my copywriter, our weekly call, which I wasn't doing. I was doing group. Now all of a sudden, we can spend 30 minutes on that call. 15 minutes of it, we can just connect as humans, right? Just I'm finding out more about where he grew up, and it's less of like, oh man, come on, dude, like what the heck's going on? So it's just like these subtle shifts. He leaves the call happy. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's suggesting to me now, hey, this is what I'm working on. this is where I think I can improve this process for you and the team. And I'm going to have it done by tomorrow. And so it's just a complete shift where you're not putting out fires and trying to do everything. And look, I'm not going to try to lie to everybody here and say everything is perfect. It's far from perfect. And I think any organization, right? It's just like, I was reading something in the Wall Street Journal like 3 weeks ago, like Walmart is suing Capital One for poor customer service, for the credit card sort of agreement that they had, that they weren't fulfilling their customer service. And I was like, you see, like even these multi-billion-dollar companies are still screwing up every day, right?
It's progress over perfection, though, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I talk about. I remember I had a consultant that came in to work with us a year ago. And he's like, Jordan, like your systems aren't perfect. I'm like, yeah, no shit, they're not perfect. If I spent the time to actually make things perfect, we would never help people, because it's not about having things perfect. It's having things in a perfect progress process, right? I just made that up. I kind of like that, right? So as long as we are continually getting better, it's like what the 1% improvement every day. In a year from now, my systems are going to get better like crazy, because we're always working on making them better, but it doesn't need to be perfect to go to market and so on and so forth. So Kenneth, I think it's been wonderful, right, to hear literally not a significant amount of things that enabled you to grow 80K in MRR in just 4 months. I'm excited to see where you're going to be at in the next 8 months, right? In a year's, like by the time we hit December, when we hit a year with you, if you're able to get 80K in 4, like what's that say about the next 8? That's really exciting, because now we're talking about multiple millions of dollars in revenue potential, which is I can only imagine for you, it's simpler, it's easier, and now the upside is way higher. So for everyone that's listening that might want to learn more about you, get in touch with you, where can they learn more about you?
Yeah, I mean, they can visit my website at GaiaMediaGroup.com. So that's GAIA mediagroup.com. They can follow me on Twitter, Kenneth Todd, Instagram, Kenneth Todd Official, or Gaia Media Group on Facebook, and all different handles, I guess. But yeah, that's it, man. And best way to get hold of me.
Beautiful.
I'll,
Well,
I'll be there. Well, they'll see my ads.
or those your ads. Well, guys, you heard it here first. Kenneth Todd added 80K, and we'll get the final number right when the month ends, but added 80K MRR in just 4 months. A massive success story, going from stress to, I can't think of a word that kind of rhymes and jives with stress, but going from stress to enjoyment and clarity and growth and confidence, right? Kind of going from the prison to, the paradigm shift of just, wow, this is fun and I could do this and enjoy it. I need to work on those taglines, because there's taglines that are boiled somewhere in there. But
Yeah,
man, congratulations. I'm so happy for your success. And I'm just so happy that we get to work with you along the journey. So guys, you heard it here
yeah.
first. This can be you as well, right? We are a guaranteed satisfaction money back experience, and we've never had a single refund. And that's because when you do the work like Kenneth has, you will grow inevitably. So go to eightfigureagency.co/call if you want to be the next success story for us at ADA. Cheers, guys.